on my way.
Hey, it's Camo. Welcome to Nashville Meets World, presented by Solis North Gulch Apartments. Live where taste matters. I'm all in monochrome today, and I should have thought, because I have a beautiful guest wearing beautiful colors. So I'm just a schmuck sitting beside me. Jesse Madera, boys and girls.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're very resplendent in color there.
That's a
First time I got to use that word on the show.
resplendent is a very resplendent word, and I appreciate you using it.
This is going to be a giggle fest. Yeah. So you're a recent LA transplant.
Yeah.
But you still have kind of a foot in LA.
Yeah.
You do a lot of stuff out there, but you've moved to Nashville. And we were off camera talking about food.
Okay. Yes. Very. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the music. We're going to talk about food.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a foodie?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I get too excited about it.
And Nashville's become a real food city.
Yeah. I thought we were leaving good sushi behind, for instance.
See, I don't put those two words together, ever. I'm not
Good sushi?
I don't know. It's baked.
Well, you know what? We found a place here, and they have something for everyone. My husband's parents, and my dad, they don't eat sushi, but we can take them there and everybody's happy. Got good steak.
Yeah, see, I'm just not a fish fan.
Not
Unless
yet.
it's battered and comes with chips and malt vinegar, I'm not interested.
Yeah, we were just talking about fish and chips.
Yeah.
It's all, our whole pre-conversation has gotten me starving.
Starving, and you're going to go to a restaurant as soon as we're done.
Oh yeah, I'm going to go have Indian food in Franklin. Yeah.
I guess we should talk about your music.
Oh yeah.
And what brought you to Nashville, because your music is kind of, it's jazz and soul with some country in there, and what brings that from LA to Nashville?
Well, I think the common theme in all of my songs is I spend a lot of time on the lyrics. I feel like I spend more time on the lyrics than anything else in the song. And I grew up listening to these stories, like storytellers, really.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson. Not Joni Mitchell came later, but when I was a kid, it was all about these outlaw country storytellers, and that's where I learned. That's what really inspired me.
So country is really what drives you, or inspired
Probably,
most of the music?
Yeah, I mean, I'm finishing up an album now, and I was just recording the lead vocal a couple days ago, and it's like it doesn't sound like anything else that I've done. It's like super upbeat and kind of poppy, and it's a bizarre song. But even still, the guy who's engineering is like, "Oh, you sound like Loretta Lynn in that part you just sang." And I went, "Yeah, that was my reaction." I went, "I did." Like that certainly wasn't intentional. But I can't get the country. I was born in West Virginia. It's in there.
Yeah, it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
And it took you, I mean, that country influence took you to LA? Is that where you...
Well, love took me to LA,
Oh, okay.
really. I was living in New York, and lots of great Indian food in New York. Seeing which I'll do.
I sense a theme.
Yeah, that's all going to come back to food. I was living in New York, and I went out to LA for a wedding, and one of my friends introduced me to one of her friends, thinking that, just kind of like a, hey, like two friends meet.
Yeah.
And less than a month later, I was living in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Went to New York, got my clothes and my cat, and
I've kind of done the same thing from England to here.
oh
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow, we're crazy.
Yeah, but that was the first time jumping the Atlantic just because. Pack a suitcase and go.
So you'll understand this when I tell you that, right? The week that I got here, somebody said, my cousin Kate was in town, and she said, "Hey, you want to go skydiving?" And I said, "Absolutely," because I needed to do something physically, like on the outside of myself, that was as terrifying as what I was doing on the inside.
Yeah.
And when I got to the bottom, I was disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, but it wasn't as,
Much
like when
more rush.
there's so much going on inside, and I don't know. I've gone through several times in my life where I've made these big changes, and I like doing it, but I get all the nerves and everything. And I was thinking, well, if I go skydiving, that'll get me out of myself,
Really?
And
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah,
at all. It
I've
wasn't
never-
as scary.
I've never felt the need to jump out of a moving
No.
airplane. I knew a guy in high school that did that, and it was one of those things where you learn to jump in the morning and you jump in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And he broke his leg so badly that he had to have a plate put in with 11 screws to hold his leg together.
Is he particularly tall?
No, short.
Wow.
And no sooner did the leg heal than he decided he wanted to go hang gliding. No. Getting on planes and one suitcase is enough for me.
Yeah.
But I have that more of that French thing where people will say, "How did you enjoy your meal?" Yeah. Because it was what it was supposed to be, unless it was bad.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one to be raving and say, "Oh, that's excellent."
You're not
It's
gonna
more
get
like, "Yeah, it was good," because that's what it was supposed to be.
Oh.
Right?
Sure. Okay.
It's more
all right.
of the bee. You're living in the bee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So now, was it food or music that brought you
Oh, yeah.
from LA to Nashville?
Well, it was music and family,
Oh, okay.
and then the food was a plus.
All right.
Yeah.
It's still love though, because you love music and you love food.
Yeah,
And you love your family.
the food is really important. It's a really important part of it. I don't know if I could have stayed if there weren't good restaurants.
See, I'm not picky. I mean, to me, a grilled cheese
Oh well,
is paradise.
but it is.
And,
Yeah.
but not these trendy, grilled cheeses with special cheeses. It's just
No.
a plain cheddar cheese on white bread.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Well, I started cooking because I wanted to feel the comfort. Food was such an important part of my life growing up. Food and music they're like together. We have a very musical family, and we also have a family that like loves to cook and loves. But when I say love to cook, it wasn't necessarily like exotic or sophisticated meals, but the love that they did put into, even just like a pork chop,
Yeah.
but the season, like the way that my grandma would do this stuff, there was something about it that I needed to continue that. And so I started to cook because it reminded me of home, and I would get the recipes and try to make them, and then I started cooking maybe more sophisticated things as I got older. But yeah, and music is probably the same. Food and music, they go together for me,
That's the first time I've had a guest that said that those two things are so important.
Yeah, well, creating a song is not so different in process, to creating a meal.
You're right. I guess you're right.
If you're creating something,
And a lot of the
if
stuff,
you're improvising.
a lot of the stuff on the radio today is just microwaved.
Wow, yeah. You know what? My brother
That's
and I were having this conversation yesterday that some of it sounds like it arrived frozen and they just thawed it out.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
That's a good analogy when you start thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So It's true. And then once you thaw it out, you know, it's like, it's going to taste sort of the same as where it came from, but just a little bit different. Just a little
Yeah, flavor's all gone from it.
Yeah, it's a little more bland.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess now that we're talking about music, so tell us about your latest stuff that you've been working on. And
so I put out an EP, a 3-song EP in May, called "Come Visit Soon," and that was very country Americana. But I have a 7-song album coming out in. I'm hoping for mid-November.
Yes.
In fact, the files are due to the mixing engineer.
Well, this show will probably air about the same time.
Oh, wonderful! Great. So hopefully my songs are out now. That's the goal. I've got a wonderful mixing engineer I'm really excited to work with named Ryan Hewitt. He's here in town, and the songs are very different from the EP that I put out, and on purpose. I'm thinking of it as sort of a seasonal thing. So the songs that came out in May of 2019 are kind of summery, and the songs that are coming out in November of 2019 are more like autumnal, you know, and they're sort of heavy and you know, more like a Thanksgiving meal.
Okay. It goes back to food.
No, sorry.
Houston, we have a problem.
No. Yeah, so lots of strings. These are piano driven. I play the pianos. These have these big string parts, and it kind of feels like stepping into like a fall fairyland or a winter wonderland kind of thing.
What do you like to write about? You know, when you bring in the autumnal sense or the seasonal sense of things, is the writing for the springtime kind of stuff, summery time, is it lighter in lyrics?
Probably not.
No.
It's probably not lighter in lyrics, but maybe lighter in just the sort of temperature of the music, you know. Like the album that I'm planning to put out after this next one is going to be kind of more back to the country, sort of picking guitar and maybe even some banjo and stuff.
Well, yeah, you're from West Virginia.
Well, yeah,
you gotta have the banjo.
I know, and I haven't had banjo on anything, you know. And now it's time.
Somebody broke into my car today and left a banjo.
No way.
No, it's a joke.
Oh! You're a bit.
I didn't have a banjo, but they broke into my car and I have to explain the joke.
Banjo hating, sushi hating.
No, I don't hate banjo. I don't hate banjo. It's just, you have to make jokes about banjos. It's like Steve Martin said, you can't play a sad song on a banjo.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. Well, but wasn't, I don't know, Long Black Veil? No, was that? I thought that was.
I may have had banjo in some adaptation, but it's not like it's a banjo solo.
No, you're right.
Yeah. No banjo solo in Long Black Veil. Yeah, there's none of that. You don't get death metal with banjo.
No, not yet. You're giving me ideas.
Do you listen to all kinds of music? I mean, where do you draw from?
Well, I think, like I was saying before, I think a lot of it goes back to those singer-songwriter sort of road-worn scholar type, you know, writers. But I guess, really, I guess it all goes back to that. And then the music is like, the music I just kind of like to have fun with making the music and creating the sounds and the chord changes. And I think it all goes back to whatever whatever I want to write about. Really.
So you let the lyric really drive the production mood
Definitely.
and the genre of the song.
Yeah, that's true.
That's neat. I'm finding more and more artists are doing that because listening to music has changed.
Yeah.
People don't get locked into, I only listen to country, I only listen to jazz, I only listen to blues. Their playlists are everything.
Yeah.
And it seems a lot of artists are producing albums now, for those that are still doing albums, that are more like a playlist.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics drive what the song is going to be.
Yeah.
That's a neat way of doing things.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree. I think it brings out it's the artist. It's an art. You're not going to ask a painter to paint the same thing every time.
Yeah.
I mean, the painter paints what she feels like painting.
Okay, you want to paint a song for us right now?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to do?
I'll do a song. I'll do a song called Amsterdam.
All right.
Okay.
Here's Jesse Lynn Madera and Amsterdam.
Jesse, write me a song, one that has no meaning, just words traveling along. Haven't seen it for so long. Always knew I'd come out right. Maybe I was wrong. And I ran to Amsterdam just to find that here I am, just the man I was hoping to avoid. Oh, and I blame you as I can, curse you, here I stand in the sprawl of the Netherlands. Give me something. Jesse, please pick up your pen, 'cause I've been living in the general vicinity of them. It's one of many men, so don't you tell me that you don't look at me the way you do them. And I ran to Amsterdam just to find that here I am, just the man I was hoping to avoid. And I blame you as I can, curse you, here I stand in the sprawl of the Netherlands. Give me some. Oh, 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 give me something. Oh, oh, oh. And I found a spot on Nemo Beach where you say you threw with me your words, the cinders through that mushroom cloud. And the place you kissed me on the cheek, I swear, you told me everything about the way it feels when time runs out. Ooh. I ran to Amsterdam just to find that here I am, just the man I was hoping to avoid. Oh, and I blame you as I can, I curse you, here I stand in the sprawl of the Netherlands. So give me something. Give me something. Jesse, write me a song,
Amsterdam. So
Yes.
what inspired that song?
Oh, well, Amsterdam is about, I'm still friends with a couple of my ex-boyfriends, and one of them called me up, and he was going through a really hard transition in his life, and he had just broken up with another Jessica, and he was calling me and feeling lost, and he said, "I just want you to write me a song about nothing." And so, of course, I had to write a song about him, asking me to write a song about nothing.
Oh, that's
because
a cool idea.
So it's from his perspective, and and he ended up this. Unfortunately, we happened to break up in Amsterdam.
Okay.
I was a student, and he came. I was doing a theater program there, and he came to visit me at the end of this program, and we broke up while he was there on a beach. We broke up, and then after I wrote, he was considering taking a job in Amsterdam. At this, fast forward. Here we are, completely broken up in the past, and he's going, okay, I just broke up with this girl named Jessica, and I got a job offer in Amsterdam. And Amsterdam had been kind of a traumatizing city for him, and he's like, I don't know if I should take this job, and so I wrote him a song called Amsterdam.
What inspires you lyrically? Is it relationships? Is it places? Is it things? Is it food?
I write a lot about relationships, and I'm trying to. My goal is to expand into other areas, but there's just so much.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know, you go trying to figure yourself out and figure out why this thing didn't work, or why it worked in some ways, or I don't know. I feel like we don't. I'm not sure how much we change, really, as people. I think we change in these small increments, and it's interesting to me to look back and see who I was versus who I am now, and the things change. So you change in such small ways, and it's wild to look back on something that happened 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like when you're out in the ocean. Like when you were in a kid.
I'm not into boats, but yeah.
Well,
Okay.
when you were a kid, did you ever go to the beach?
Yeah, in Ontario, because I'm from kind of between Niagara Falls and Toronto.
Okay.
So we had Lake Ontario.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I remember going to the beach with my parents, and I'd be out there playing in the water, and the next thing I knew, maybe I was here at first, and my parents were here, and then all of a sudden, I'm like here, and I didn't even know how it happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was swimming. It's like the current maybe carried me over.
Incrementally.
Yeah.
That's a neat way of looking at it. I tend to think that I changed a ton.
Yeah.
But others that know me may not think that. You have your view, and then there's the perspective that others have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to think here about something that doesn't talk about food and stuff. It's all right, we're having fun. You talk about Amsterdam. So you've been outside of the United States. How do you feel that being in other countries around the world has expanded your worldview and how you see music? It's not a matter of just going on vacation for someplace. That's a different thing. But when you go and you're immersed in if you're studying in Amsterdam, you're there not for 3 weeks. You're there for a while.
Maybe it goes back to what we were talking about how the idea of genre is sort of disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
When I noticed that I have traveled quite a bit out of the country, and I was noticing this summer because we were on a trip, and the things that maybe used to make me feel other when I went to a foreign place don't make me feel that way anymore, and I tend to feel at home more often than not in most places.
Yeah, most places.
So I think, because when I'm creating these songs, I'm not thinking about genre or borders or anything like that. And maybe the traveling helps. Or maybe the traveling sort of influenced that in me. But to me, it's kind of like all the same.
Yeah,
It's like it's a world.
and I think most artists, at least ones that I've encountered, have that same feeling, because art, no matter what it is, doesn't have borders.
Mm-hmm.
And so you pick up jazz influence, you pick up blues influences, you pick up everything, just as you would if you're traveling to a different country, and pick up style and sensibility and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, human emotion, we're all over the place. I mean,
Yeah, no matter where you're from,
and there's comfort food in every culture.
Just like comfort music.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And comfort paintings and sculptures.
Yeah. Like you look at something and it feels familiar to you, and why is that? Why is it that Indian food is comforting? I didn't grow up with that. You know, why would it be just as comforting as, say, fried chicken?
Yeah.
It's really wild how that happens.
Yeah, I remember going into the National Gallery in London for the first time, and I mean, there are just so many works of art, and it's, where do you start?
Mm-hmm.
And it is like music, it's all out there. Where do you start to find stuff that you're going to like? But then you wander around, you find something that's just familiar and comforting, and you think, okay, this is where I'm starting.
Yeah.
Is with this.
Yeah.
And you start with the comfortable, and then you work out and go to the uncomfortable.
It's like, why does this make me feel so uncomfortable?
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that with music too, because some of the music I listen to is really heavy. And to me, darkness, the dark side of things, is very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I find comfort in darkness.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Where do you find comfort?
It really depends. I was a 90s kid. Grew up. So I can find comfort in I can listen to Tupac, Me and My Girlfriend. Yeah. I know all the words. And he gets embarrassed because I'll crank it up in the neighborhood. You can't drive up to school to pick up your kid with Me and My Girlfriend. So, but yeah, I think things I grew up with, probably. I find comfort in that, but I also find a lot of comfort in Willie Nelson and
not just musically. Where else do you find comfort?
oh, my husband and my kids. Probably that's the most comfortable situation I know.
Good.
You know, yeah. I grew up in I guess benevolent chaos. You know, not entirely benevolent, but there's a lot of love in my family. But just a lot of transition, which is probably why I feel the need to pick up and move in my life. But
is that movement? Is that running to something or running from something?
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, both probably. Yeah. But I don't never felt so calm as I do just being with my little family that I created. It's just there's an ease to it that I never knew was possible in life. You know, I didn't
It's
grow
kind of
up
easy,
with
like Sunday morning.
Yeah. Pancakes.
There you go. You want to do another song?
Yeah, sure.
All right, what are you going to do?
I think I'll do a song called Holy Water.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Once again, Jesse Lynn Madera and Holy Water.
These boots dance like two scrappy sisters fighting for the same dumb land. One wears green, the other stares at me, both got red on their hands. 'Cause they both know what's best for him. And I should have been a cowboy, but I was born a lady. Ever since I was a baby girl, I've been cussing and holding you down. Some say I look just like my mama. She was born a farmer's daughter. Then puddles of southern rain on my holy water. These boots taste like scotch in the morning when the sun and the moon collide. One can't remember when she passed out, the other stayed up all night, sitting in the pocket of the rhythm of life. I guess I should have been a cowboy, but I was born a lady. Ever since I was a baby girl, I've been cussing them and holding it down. Some say I look just like my mama. She was born a farmer's daughter. Then puddles of southern rain on my holy water. Oh, I could break a cowboy faster than he could break a promise. Make love before 9 a.m. I steal his kisses while he's sleeping. He tells his friends I'll never leave him. Opposite lines, these fools will be down again. Oh, I should have been a cowboy. I was born a lady. Ever since I was a baby girl, I've been cussing up and holding it down. Some say I look just like my mama. We were born farmers, daughters, and then petals of southern rain on my holy water. Ooh, then puddles of southern rain on my holy water. Ooh, then puddles of the southern rain on my holy water.
Cool song.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
You're laughing. Now you're really going to laugh because it's the time of the show where we do asked and answered. So our viewers all around the world send in questions.
Okay.
And you get to reach into Nana's ugly cookie jar.
Oh, wow.
And put a question on the screen and mix them up for you. There we go.
that's
We get some really great answers out of these.
This is chocolate chip. Peanut butter.
If you get ash on your hands, that's Nana.
Oh, great. Oh, sorry, Nana. All right, oatmeal raisin. Okay, what's the most interesting thing that has ever happened to you playing a show? From Mary in Oxford, England.
Cool. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Well, okay. So I showed up to play. I had a residency at a club. It's no longer in New York. It was called the National Underground. They moved here to Nashville. They're now called the Nashville Underground, and it's owned by Joey and Gavin DeGraw.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I left my keyboard there in the basement because I was going to be coming back, and I was like toting around this keyboard that I inherited. It was passed down to me in my family. It was like a 1996 PC-88, so it's £1 million. Yeah. And so I left it there because it's New York, and I don't want to be like, that's a lot of cab fare trying to tote these things. So anyway, I showed up for my gig, and the keyboard has disappeared. And I'm going, okay, I don't have anything to play, and where everybody's looking around, and I'm starting to get like angry, my keyboard was stolen. So the manager, he goes, I'm really sorry, Jesse. Gavin saw your keyboard in the basement, and he took it to his apartment. And he's playing on it. We didn't know whose it was. Yeah. I'm like, my name is on the case. Yeah. But
Gavin DeGraw has stolen your keyboard.
Gavin DeGraw stole my keyboard.
Watch out! That's a great song title.
Yeah.
Gavin DeGraw stole my keyboard.
So he was playing. They had it set it up at the apartment, and was playing, and so then it was like, okay, emergency. They had to go and break it down and bring it back. But that was the first thing that came to mind.
That's excellent. That's a cool story. Gavin DeGraw stole her keyboard.
Yeah. Watch out for him.
Yeah, you can put that back in there. Yeah, for somebody else to answer it.
All right.
Cool. So, Jesse Madera's heading out on her first national big headlining tour.
Yes.
Who opens for you?
Who opens for me? Well, probably my friend Jesse Cole, who's an incredible artist here in Nashville. He's a guitar player and a wonderful singer, and I would open for him any day of the week. But that would be the most fun because we would have fun together.
Reach out to him and.
Oh, I will.
We like doing that. If somebody mentions somebody, we get them in here and give them and try and keep the chain going.
I will.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's a blast having you. And the new album is mid-November.
Yeah.
People will be able to get that anywhere. Fine music is streamed, sold.
Yep, all of it.
Yeah. Cool. And how can they connect with you on socials?
I really love posting on Instagram. So Jesse Lynn Madera is my name on Instagram. Follow me. I post lots of comfort food pictures, as you can imagine, and pictures of the family.
So you can either find her on Instagram or in a restaurant.
Pretty much, that's kind of how it works, yeah.
Jesse Madera, thanks for being on the show today. It's been a blast. We've got to have you back again. My pleasure. Come back wearing pretty colors.
I will.
Thanks for watching Nashville Meets World, presented by Solis North Gulch Apartments. Don't forget to catch me, Camo, on Chris Country all across the UK every Sunday at midday following Bobby Bones, and on 88.9 Tamworth FM in Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia. Thursday mornings with Jody Crosby and John Wolf. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Oh, my I should have